I've done the World's End 100K twice, the Hahn 50K twice. I've done Call of the Wilds 50K, I think 2 or 3 times. I've done Twisted Branch 100K. I've done a lot.
The Fitness Movement is brought to you by Zor Fitness. We offer coaching and individualized program design, as well as educational content for coaches and athletes. It's all one place, zorfitness.com.
Welcome to Lumber Capital. ASMR, aka ASMR. Stacy's ruining it because she won't shut up.
Why do I feel like you watch that a lot in your free time? The way you're doing that is like just like what they do.
I need like a with hair dye.
What even is it? What is she? I don't even know what she's doing.
You've never seen that?
She's trying to turn you on with sound.
Is that what it's for?
I mean, I think sometimes you can be that way.
Is my microphone close enough?
I feel like people are real weird with it.
Oh, I wasn't trying. I'm already weird. Tell me when we're starting for real so I can...
We did.
Oh, we're started.
What?
We did.
You did this to me again?
Surprise!
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, so today we got Kara on.
Hi,
This
Kara.
is exciting stuff.
Hello.
So, yeah, you're our head of admin at Lumber Capital Athletics and keep the place running smoothly and spotless.
So clean. So pristine.
I mean, that's
Yes.
one of the things that consistently we hear is that, like, people appreciate that the gym is, like, very clean.
That's
I mean,
nice.
it doesn't seem like a lot, but when it's
Oh my
not that way,
gosh,
you
yeah.
realize how important it actually is. 'Cause
Absolutely.
We've been to gyms that are just a mess, and it's
Yeah.
not fun to do.
I actually just had this conversation yesterday with somebody in the morning that was here. And literally, I told her, I said, literally, this gym looks exactly like it did the day we opened,
Yep.
which is so nice. And I told her that you're the reason why. Oh
you so
gosh.
Also, don't want people getting sick when they come here. So that's why I like to keep things sanitized. If you know what I mean.
Germaphobe.
Yep.
I knew it. I knew it.
Well, that's
Wipe
the person
down.
you want to be cleaning. If you want someone
Yes.
cleaning your gym, it's the person that's a germaphobe. So that works out perfectly. So, yeah, you also do some CrossFit. You do trail running, and we're going to talk, I don't want to say primarily about that, but a good chunk of this will be about the endurance side of things because that's something that, I think a lot of CrossFitters at some point get their feet into is like the endurance side of things, whether it's even if it's just like a local 5K or 10K, or doing like a Spartan race or a High Rocks or something else that's kind of endurance based. So people have like fun with it and then they end up coming back to CrossFit. So what were you like growing up as a kid?
What?
What were you like growing up as a kid?
What was I like?
Yeah, what were you like? I was a little Caroline.
Why do you look so disgusted? I can't wait to hear this.
I think at times I could be a little bit of a handful. So
Well, you're a kid.
Surprise.
So yes.
I did quite a bit of sports. So I did soccer, mostly growing up, and I actually did dance class.
What?
Nice.
Yes.
What kind of dance? Like ballet, tap?
I did ballet, I did tap, and I did jazz.
Oh man, the trifecta.
Yes. So,
Did you love it?
no.
Like your parents didn't have, they had to make you go.
Yes.
Okay. That's usually
And
the
I did
case when you're little.
softball as well. That was when I was like little. And I did dance until I was like, I would say 10 to 11.
But you weren't like super committed to any of that stuff, or did you?
I
Did you
didn't-
have like a sport you really liked, or?
I really liked soccer. So I did soccer pretty heavily until I was a junior in high school. I did a lot of club teams, like indoor soccer, soccer camps. But I really liked basketball was probably my favorite besides cross country. I played a lot of basketball.
You did do cross country?
I did do cross country. Not officially until my junior and senior year in high school. So
did you like cross country then?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved my coach, Stephanie Bettison. She works with the PA Trail Dogs now. So I get to see her still, and she still runs. So, which is cool because she is retired. So it's fun to see that longevity that she still does in trail running.
Yeah. I mean, when did you start doing like longer races? Like when did it go beyond just like your casual like 5K, 10K to like ultras?
Ultra, my first 50K, I think was like 3 years ago.
I was going to say, you started CrossFit before you started.
Yeah, I did
the
CrossFit
longer
before.
runs.
Yeah, I did trail running, but my first ultra was about 3 years ago, I would say.
Yeah. And is ultra considered anything over marathon?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do like halves or marathons at any point before that?
I've never done a road marathon.
Fun fact.
But I did a lot of 25Ks on the trail. That's pretty much the main distance that I did up until the 50K.
Is that more common in like trail racing? Like to have like a 25K versus like a marathon? I mean, not that those are the same distance, but I feel like I feel like you don't see like a 25K road race is what I'm getting.
Right.
At.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like half marathon. Like there's not really anything in between.
Right.
Whereas like a 25K is what, like 18?
About 16.
16?
It varies on trail. Just
Yeah,
a
they might
little
not
bit.
be exact every time.
Yeah.
And then the route you
be
actually
over.
run might be over based on if you take a wrong turn or things. Yeah.
Karen
Or
never takes a
some-
wrong
Which
turn.
is like,
I
She
never,
never takes a wrong turn.
I've never added 4 miles onto a race course.
I
it's
live
100 miles, but actually.
I live for the day or two after she finishes a race, and she has all these stories. Well, I turned wrong here, and then I fell here.
Lots of wrong turns and falling.
So what brought you to CrossFit originally?
So CrossFit.
And when did this fall into like your timeline?
CrossFit. So when I lived in Harrisburg, and so I always wanted to do CrossFit, but I did have some barriers that kind of stops me from being able to do it. When I lived in Harrisburg, actually called, I believe it was CrossFit 717 a couple times. And I would watch.
So that was my first gym.
I know.
This is completely off topic.
I think you answered
And-
the phone. Did you work there?
I did, but I
Yeah.
would never answer the phone.
Oh.
No one answered the
You
phone.
sure?
That phone would just
Somebody
ring
answered
and
the
ring
She said
and
someone
ring.
answered the
Someone.
phone.
I
then.
talked to someone.
I wonder who it was.
So what happened?
Yeah,
So-
tell me the story. I gotta know.
I just explained that I wanted to come and look at the gym, that I was really interested, and then it just fell through. I loved watching the games, and then eventually I moved back here, and I was commuting back and forth from here to Harrisburg, and
Jeez.
long story short, as soon as I found a gym here, I signed up right away.
Mm-hmm. That was the first time you'd done CrossFit. You liked the idea of it. You watched it, but you never done it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was it, 2018, I think, maybe.
I think I did your first intro class.
You did.
Aw.
She did. I couldn't do a sit-up. She had to pull my hand up to help me do a sit-up.
Yeah. So, why did you end up walking into like what made you like spurred you to want to join a CrossFit gym?
I really wanted to get into lifting, and I liked the idea of that there was always something new to learn and always something to work on. I loved the gymnastics movements. I really like group fitness as well. The clean and jerks I thought were so cool. So there was just a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
just watching everything on the games, like obviously I knew that that's not a normal gym, but it was just cool to see that like that was some stuff that.
What got you interested the first time? I don't know how you started CrossFit.
Oh gosh, I started CrossFit. Actually, a friend of mine who lives in, I believe, Virginia now, we went to high school together, and she's like, you know what? She messaged me out of the blue and said, there's this, you would love CrossFit. You should really try it. And I said, where do we even do that at here? And there was, I'm like, I have no idea. So she's like, there's this it's a little tiny place. It's down an alley. It's in Newberry. I'm like, oh my gosh. So literally, I remember.
That is like the
so
most
classic.
stereotypical
I know.
CrossFit.
And I remember driving down the alley and I'm like, this is a garage. Like it's literally a tiny garage.
Oh no.
And yeah, it's like total. I mean, 2013. I mean, that's what it was. But yeah, and I tried it and I was hooked right away. I mean, all I was doing was marathon running too.
Yeah.
So you heard through somebody, you didn't like watch it on TV or anything?
No.
Yeah.
No. So when she
But
said
you
that,
had watched it somewhere and that's what got you hooked.
Yeah.
That's how I was. Like I
wow.
just saw it on like YouTube or something. I was
Yeah.
like, this is sweet. I want to do this.
So after she said that, I did look it up, and I found a video of Camille doing power cleans in a workout, and so I tried them. And I looked like everybody in the gym was like, what is this girl doing? I was at another local gym, and it was just, I was like, what? This is the weirdest thing I've ever done. I mean, I was lifting like little dumbbells. I was pretty skinny fit, but yeah, it was pretty, I just thought it was wild. I loved it. Yeah.
The intensity is fun.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's what gets a lot of people when they first join. That's exciting because it's you can tell that you're gonna get results right away because it's such a strong dose, right? You know, it's people. That's what people kind of love to hate about it. Is like it's so challenging.
Yeah,
and then it's like that's also what kind of hooks them is that like they want to they understand that they would see results quickly from that, and then it's also like you want to continue to get better at it.
Mm-hmm. It was challenging. I mean, I was at a point in my life where I was on the hamster wheel of staring at myself in the mirror doing bicep curls and tricep kickbacks and plyometrics, and I was just like, I needed something else.
Yeah,
and that was it.
So, at what point did you start running more? So, like, what? Again, were you unhappy doing CrossFit? Did you get tired of something? Did you just want? What kind of led you? Like, you know, the normal person who's in a CrossFit gym isn't necessarily like, I'm going to go run 100K. Like, that's not their definition of a good time. So, like, why?
I've always run a lot.
I remember,
like even when you were doing CrossFit, you were running.
And she would blow everybody away in these running workouts. They were like, Kara's really fast. Like I remember everybody being like, "Oh my God, she's gonna smoke this running workout." She was always fast.
I did trail run a little bit. It's hard to say. I think. Because I would go trail running with, like, you guys sometimes.
Yeah, but it was by yourself because you would leave us. There was a few times when I was like, Kara. Like,
I would stop and wait.
Just so fast. She would just take off. I'm like, I'm back here. I don't know where I'm going.
You were with a group. You're okay. So I'm trying to think of when I started to set more goal distance. Actually might have been COVID time during shutdown. I would still I had equipment to do CrossFit workouts. I was still doing those, but also was just randomly going out in the woods for like hours
Yeah.
and running.
What was the appeal of that?
I just like to be outside and running on a trail. I like I would say, not exactly the danger of being on a trail, but like how it can be unpredictable. So
Like the trail is like its own element.
yeah,
Like if you're in a road race, it's the road. Like there might be terrain like hills, but it's not like a trail has its very own like set of characteristics. Like it could be like super rocky, it could be smooth, it could have roots in it, it could be like, all these things that you have to traverse.
It changes too with the elements. Like
Yeah.
if it's leaf covered or if it's snowy, like those were always the fun ones when it was snowing out.
yeah.
Same trail, but different
Yeah,
conditions.
I feel like people who don't do a sport where it's like very repetitive don't understand like the nuanced things that like make it different for you every single time you do it. Like even if you show up to run the same exact trail at the same exact loop that you do in training, for example, it's different every time because the way you come into it's different.
Yeah.
The trail itself could be different. The weather,
Yeah, I was
all that kind of
gonna
stuff.
say sometimes if there's long periods of heavy rain, that'll change
Yeah.
the trail structure. So, but back to your question, I don't think I ever got tired of CrossFit. I just had to learn how to balance my running programming and in CrossFit. Because if I had it my way, I'd be able to go 100% on everything all the time,
Yeah.
which I was doing at one point.
Now you sound like a CrossFitter.
I tried that too. I was like, let me see how many half marathons I can train for and still do CrossFit
Yeah.
full time. It was not, it's like you can't, if you really want to be better at one or the other, you can't do both full time. Like you have to has to give somewhere.
Yeah, and especially this year. Well, this year I did things a little differently where I trained harder in classes at the last fall and further into the spring as much as I could until my body told me girl,
Chill out.
chill. Yeah. So, and I think that was helpful.
Yeah. So, like, how much CrossFit do you do right now versus how much running do you do right now? Just kind of take us through like a week, maybe. That might be easiest. Like, say a typical week when you're training, not necessarily gearing up for something in the immediate future, but just kind of running and training.
So when I'm perfectly healthy and not
Yeah.
injured, I would have a rest day Monday. Tuesday would be my speed workout, and I also would do a CrossFit workout. Maybe at 60% or as hard as I could. Kind of depends.
Depending on what the workout is.
Yeah. Wednesday would be a workout. I would do CrossFit, and then I might have a 60-minute to 70-minute easy run. Now I'm doing more cross training, so I would do the bike, the arc trainer, or rowing. Thursday is when I do climbing practice or downhill practice. So that I would just do that.
Is that essentially like hill repeats?
Yeah. And depending what classes, I might take a rest day on class. Friday class, and then easy run. But it depends on what I have Saturday. Because Saturday, my long run, sometimes I have a workout built into that long run. So if I have a hard workout built into it, I would do class on Friday, but like scale it back. So that was like what I was doing last year.
Yeah. Is like that Saturday one like really important to you? Like where like the Friday might get cut out if like Saturday is going to be affected by that?
You mean the CrossFit workout?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically like it sounds like your running's a little bit more organized, and then like that's pretty consistent. You want those to be good. So if you need to alter the CrossFit training to around that so it doesn't like negatively impact your run performance for like those workouts, that's kind of what you do. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, last year I really went hard on the CrossFit workouts, I think, than I usually would.
Yeah.
And it was helpful. And I hope to do that again this year. I'm having a little more hip and hamstring issues, so maybe they might be at not the intensity I would like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was definitely part of why I was like successful over the summer.
What's the most recent race you did?
The Black Forest Ultra.
So tell us about that. What's the deal with that?
That is a 100K race. Came out to about, I think, 65 miles.
So 110K race.
Yeah. Well, I did get a little lost.
Your race is 110, essentially.
So it starts at midnight, and you have, I think it was 19 hours to finish it. But this one is a little different than the other races because there's only 5 aid stations. You can't have pacers. You can't have crew.
Does that mean you're carrying more on you?
Well, do you do like drop bags?
We are allowed to have a drop bag
Okay.
at every aid station.
So how many miles apart are the aid stations?
They span from 8 miles to, I think almost 15 was the longest.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
So that's like hours in between aid stations.
oh, it's, yeah. So my plan for that one, since I was going for the Triple Crown this year, which is the Hahn 50K, World's End 100K, and then the Eastern States 100-mile race. But
Is that like a Pennsylvania thing?
yes, for trail running.
Yeah.
There's lots of Triple Crowns, but this is the one for trail running.
Yeah.
And then I was going to go for the Blacklist, which is the Triple Crown plus doing the Black Forest Ultra. So we're all of us who are going for that this year, Eastern States got canceled last minute because of the flood.
So you got a sticker from that race?
So
She puts it in my office, and it has a note on it, give this to me in 2025.
I gave
She's
him
like, I
my.
don't deserve this yet.
So the other races, like World's End, I decided to have a set pace and stick to that and that sort of thing. Not go too crazy until the end. But Black Forest, I was like, I think I'm just going to go until I hit a wall.
Send it.
I sent it, and between aid station 2 and 3, I decided that I was not okay.
You were paying for
Yeah, I
it.
was-
3.
So that would have been about 20-ish miles. So
That's so far to go.
I know. So I had fallen maybe like twice and turned my ankle. So I was like, I'm going to get myself together at aid station 3 and then go from there. So I ended up doing just that.
Do you like stop at the aid stations? Or do you like pick up a bag or keep going or
My goal,
kind of grab and go?
my time goal, it was to be under a minute at each aid station. So
Oh, wow.
I had my bottles out and the lids off by the time I get to the aid station, and they would fill them up for me. I go to my drop bag, and I already had a Ziploc bag full of my gels, and I'd stuff that in my pack. They'd have my waters for me, and I would go. So, not really. Stuff.
Yeah.
But
And you wear like a pack the whole time.
yep. So then from there, I was able to get myself together, and I ended up chugging along. And at one point, I was telling my friend, I was like, if we go this and this pace, we can end in 15 hours. And I must have been feeling really good. And then I got to which I was, and then I got to maybe like 5 to 6 miles from the finish line. And that's when my back started to cramp really bad. And that's where my infamous finish line video comes into play.
Oh yeah, maybe we can get
I was
that
going
and
to
put it
say,
in
you got to
here.
put that on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like you're in so much pain.
I wasn't really I think that because the cramp had gone away, I think I was just
Done. You're just done.
yeah.
So you thought you were upright, but you were running like
I could have sworn
like a
I got
30-degree
I could have
angle.
sworn I could have sworn I got myself together for finish line.
You did not.
I did not.
You did not.
So, but yeah, I didn't hit my time goal, but I did end up getting second, which was fun.
How far were you from your time goal?
I wanted to be under
16, right?
16 hours, and I was 16 hours in like 22 minutes.
Hmm.
I was close, so
Good for you.
I was trying some new things too.
So I feel like if you're someone who probably hasn't done that, you probably don't understand how easy it would be to get lost in like a trail race. Because like you start at midnight, so it is pitch black. I mean, because you're also running through trees, so it's not even like you get like moonlight really. So like
right there.
you have like a headlamp on, you're just kind of like staring at your feet most of the time.
Yeah. So there was flags with reflective like tags on them. So
This is the one with just the blazes on the trees.
yes.
But do they also mark it?
We had so the first I think it's like 9 miles is not on the Black Forest Trail. It's a different trail, so they mark it for us. But yes, I look down chronically since I fall so much.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look where your feet are going.
Yeah. And then we get on the Black Forest Trail. There's some ribbon with reflection on it throughout the Black Forest Trail. Not as much as other races, but they do it for when you are in the dark. And they added more recently. But the further you go, the less ribbon. Because then it's daylight and you can see the orange. But I was following someone else, and we were supposed to take a right turn, and we went straight. And then I could see a reflection of a ribbon in the distance. So I was like, we are going the right way, I think. And she was like, no, we're not. And I was like, yes, we are. And then she's like, no. And I was like, so we ran back. So she did. And I was like, I better follow her back. But yeah, it was easy to get lost.
Do you use like heart rate or like paces on like your GPS watch to like inform your pace at all?
I mostly use my pace. I just don't think that a wristwatch is super reliable for heart rate.
Yeah.
I I especially used pace. Pace was very important in this race because the cutoff times to the aid stations are very tight.
So you have like checkpoints, and you have to get through the checkpoint in a certain time, otherwise they cut you off.
Yeah, it's the aid stations.
Yeah.
So like the first aid station, it was about 8-ish miles, and I think there was about 2,000 feet of elevation to climb, and I think we had 2.5 hours to do it. So that I was like checking my watch all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so pace is.
Yeah. Where's like your mind go when like you're racing?
That's a scary
In like
question.
a long race like that.
My brain is like.
Do you listen to music?
So usually I don't. I listen to it during one section in World's End that I have trouble with.
Just like a little boost.
Yeah. And then other than that, it's for a training tool. I just don't even hear it like when I run. I used it in Black Forest though.
Didn't Hahn used to not let you wear earbuds? Wasn't there a race where you couldn't wear them?
A lot of road races don't say you're not
I
allowed.
don't know why I was thinking Hahn, but I guess not.
But my brain just, like, people talk to me and I don't usually talk back. I don't know what.
I mean, it's a long time to be out there.
Yeah, and sometimes my brain is like, I'm never running again. And sometimes I have to be like, do not cry.
Yeah.
But if I'm working off of someone else who's running, or I'm chasing someone, I just constantly think about like who I'm trying to catch, or I really get myself worked up. I'm like, somebody's chasing me right now. I have to go like even faster, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes my brain is playing that cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Did you have pacers for this? Because I know sometimes you have people that run with you.
For Black Forest, you're not allowed to have them.
You're not allowed to have them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How do you choose pacers when you do have a pacer? Like, do you just pick people that, I mean, nobody that I know is as fast as you. So, like, how do you?
Luckily, they don't have to do the whole thing.
No, they just do like legs. But like, how do you choose your pacers? How do you get people to agree to be a pacer?
So,
Gun to the head.
honestly, I usually just ask people, and if they are willing to, like, that's it. I don't look
If they
for.
agree, you're good.
So you don't like sell it to them like, now listen, you don't have to run as fast as me. I'm not going to be mean to you. I won't yell
No
at
promises.
you. I'm probably not even going to talk to you.
I pretty much that's it. And I do. World's End was really my first time. Well, this year, I had Alex Butler as a pacer my first time doing World's End. She was amazing because I laid down on the trail physically. And she really had to get me through the last part of that race. So there was not a whole lot of running involved there. It was just like, let's get up. Let's just move. But this time, I just was mostly, hey, I'm not sure how fast I'm going to go, but I've had a really good training block.
Did you kind of tell them to speed up or slow down, or do they just kind of like almost run with you?
They have to stay behind you.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. They have
like a
some
pacer in
rules.
track like runs out in front.
Right.
To like, if they want to run at a certain qualifying pace or something, it's their job to run at that pace, so you know what pace you have to run at. Whereas like these people are more like support people.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have some rules they have to
A
follow.
buddy to run with you for a leg of the trip, essentially.
Yeah,
ESP.
they are. It is helpful.
Yeah. Like emotional sport.
Yes.
Yeah.
So very helpful. I just say, you know, there is a chance that I might be having a really good day and drop you, but also like I might be power hiking a lot. And I always let them know like my issues, my stomach is a big issue. And that's usually what I have.
Do people carry like toilet paper on them?
Yeah.
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 You do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
It's
what's your other option? You're going to use like a leaf,
right.
and that's not going to get you clean. And you're going to chafe for the next 60K.
that's it. Yeah.
Don't
you
pick the wrong leaf.
Yeah. Gosh.
There is like anti-chafing stuff that
Yeah.
is used in that area, so you
Yeah.
don't chafe anyway. Just
I knew that from triathlon.
yeah.
Glide.
I
Glide on
I
it.
glided up for
You,
Crash Event 6.
yeah. Pacers are like the love of my life.
Aw.
They are. I mean, and they're like sacrificing their body to help you, and a lot of time. So they're great. And crew. I've never had like a crew that follows you in a car like throughout the race. So, but
Does that work in trail running?
they just go from one aid station to the other.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So they basically meet you at the aid station and they give you a little cheer
They have supplies for
and
you
supplies.
too. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Change your clothes, anything pretty much.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, that's like what a cycling coach does. Like for, road cycling, it's like you have somebody like following you in the car and like
Yeah.
earbud to like tell you what paces you're at, where people are at,
Yes.
encourage you, that sort of thing. But how much like power hiking do you do versus running in like a 100K?
Probably. So power hiking, I would say like 30%. I ran a lot of Black Forest,
Yeah.
and I started to power hike because of my back.
Yeah. I mean, if the train gets crazy or you get really tired, that's when you go to that, right?
My go-to is usually like on a climb. If it's steep, I'll power hike, but I usually do like a 1-to-1 ratio where I'll run 10 steps and then power hike 10 and then run and then or if I fall, like my rule is if I fall like twice in 10 minutes, then I need a power hike for like
Yeah. Get yourself together.
But it's very helpful, but I've gotten to a point where I can just still move like consistently with like a slower jog, which keeps my momentum a little better than power hiking. I'm actually a pretty slow power hiker, so
I find that hard to believe.
I am. I'm really slow at walking. I had to practice walking fast.
I think I saw you. Did you do that here? I think I saw you do that here. Yeah.
And I would do like just 10 minutes of walking as fast as I could, and it's hard.
At a certain point, walking fast is harder than running slow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that. You like tense up more.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's like the longest you like run in training normally?
The longest. So before this 100K, the longest I did was like 35 miles at one time.
How far out is that?
A month. So, yeah, some of my friends and I did the Green Monster 50K course unofficially.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's only up to like 24 miles for 100K. It goes more off my weekly mileage. So, also do back-to-back runs. Saturday I'll do a long run, and then Sunday I'll do a long run when I'm tired.
And I feel like you might have told me this, that like lately you've been doing less like mileage in training. Is that true? Do you just like feel like more confident now that you can do it without having to do like this super long stretches before you actually go to do the event, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Do you mean like overall? Since I started coaching maybe like 3 years ago, I would say that I've run less mileage overall.
Yeah.
Recently, which is good because I'm more structured and it's planned out. Before I was just like, let me run 3 times during the week, like 25 miles at a time and hurt myself. But recently I've been, doing some of the arc trainer and replacing a run with like cross training. So I haven't quite tested how that will work before a race, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just hoping to have more like potent and focused running when it's my time to like train.
Yeah.
Yeah. But And
that's the thing, is like you could do less total volume in like a given week, but you could be doing more in certain bouts of work or like more at a higher pace that you like actually want to mimic. And then that could translate better to you running well.
Yeah.
So just because you're not running as much, like I feel like runners can get into the like really fixated on like their weekly mileage. Like if I'm not at this certain threshold, like I'm not moving in the right direction, which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah. And especially since I'm having like hip and hamstring issues, I really want to focus on like the speed workout, the climbing workout in my long run. And I do think that the cross training does help too. So, I don't want to exacerbate anything there because hamstring is hard to heal. But
So like you said like when you're racing, like you don't think about much.
I don't. I think,
and I actually I totally understand what you mean, because I've done some longer events, like 6 hours or so, and it's like a good chunk of that time you're just kind of there. Like you do kind of think about things, but it's like you're almost like your head's like in a loop. Like you were saying, like, okay, I'm gonna take 10 steps of run, 10 steps of like a power walk. You're just like constantly like playing that game of like, I'm trying to catch the person in front of me, there might be somebody behind me, okay, and just trying to like keeping like encouraging yourself to keep going. Is there any times where you get out of that, like you get like pulled out of like the moment, so to speak, and like you're thinking about how long the race is, or like other things that are like in a not helpful way? Like how do you like get yourself out of, like how do you find yourself in that negative headspace, and then like how do you get out of it?
I would say the 50K distance is where I find myself out of that good vibe.
Why that distance?
Because I can run usually most of it, and I like to race it.
Yeah, you
harder.
Can race that distance versus just like survive it.
Yeah. And I can push and redline almost the whole thing. So I like by mile 10, I'm hurting. So I just I kind of just have to be like next aid station to next aid station. But my brain really goes to like, after this, I'm never running again. Like,
Yeah, negative.
Yeah, so I'll just, honestly, sometimes I really do have to tell myself that it's like a privilege that I can train and that I can run. So,
Yeah.
and that my body can actually hurt in this way and it's not hurting in like my actual like physical illness way,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I'm voluntarily
what I'm
doing this to myself.
Yeah. So, and that like there might actually come a day when I can't physically do this. So
Yeah.
just suck it up. But it's hard with those.
Yeah. For example, like you were like what, like a third of the way into the race and you were like dealing with like cramps and stuff already?
For Black Forest, I was a third of the way in and I had already felt like I was I would say
Like you felt like your body was shutting down on you even though you were only a third of the way
my
in.
knees hurt really bad. I was like tired from running. I felt like I honestly had raced like a marathon distance already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I went out pretty fast. That I just had to push through, and I did see like a lot of my friends on the course. That was helpful. And I think setting like, okay, I can be miserable for 3 more miles until I get to aid station 3. And then like, I really need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by that point I was kind of good to go.
Yeah, I mean, very different, but like in CrossFit competitions, like you have multiple events.
Yes.
So like in that sense, it's like you kind of, in order to do your best, you have to take it one at a time. It's like do the thing that's in front of you, and because that's like the only thing that you can control, and that's like the most important thing.
Yep.
Where it's like obviously that's way different than like one continuous event, but it's very similar in the fact that like you're trying to focus on like the next thing in front of you, and like don't get like too fixated, like too far down the road. Just get to the next aid station, just get over that hill, like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I have to do. Sometimes it's like the next 400 meters.
Yeah.
The next
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Or
you ever
just
had
try to catch the next person, which is a fun game.
Yeah. Have you ever DNF'd?
Yes. I DNF'd the World's End Fall Classic 13-mile race at mile 2.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
When was this?
This was 2022, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe it was mile 3.
What happened?
So I had World's End 50K in June, and then
So you just done a 50K.
I did it in June, and then I had my gallbladder out in July.
Oh,
and
jeez.
and maybe like, yeah, middle of June. But then I ran a 50-mile like endurance thing, so I thought it was good in July. The end of July, maybe. So then I signed up for this World's End race, and it was like the beginning of September, and I run this race course a lot. Like, World's End is my favorite place to run. Forwards, backwards, I've done it so many times. I go out and I decide that I'm gonna just go as fast as I can. So, I mean, my mile splits at the beginning were like 6-ish. And all of a sudden, my stomach hurt so bad. Like, I couldn't even stand up.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a sign. So I just walked right back down and I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. One of those where you just know right away.
But
You just kind of know right
I
away.
knew, there was,
You're like, yeah, there's no fighting through this.
nope. And
Yeah.
there wasn't even, I don't even think I could have finished it just going slowly.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think it was just me being too cocky that I could like do that fast, and two, I don't think I gave my
Yeah, you weren't recovered yet.
my surgery enough time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I did DNF.
Any since then?
No.
And what are some of the races you've done since then?
I've done the World's End 100K twice, the Hahn 50K twice. I've done Call the Wild's 50K, I think 2 or 3 times. I've done Twisted Branch 100K. I've done a lot. I
Can't even remember.
Those are like the longer ones. I've done some endurance.
Did you ever do a 100 mile?
Eastern States would have been my first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I do have another. I'm signed up for another one, March 14th, I believe, called Rabid Raccoon. And then
Where's that at?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Is it in Pennsylvania?
It is
Could
in
be
Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay.
Could be.
I think it's in the western part of the state.
It's like Pennsylvania, like just like not a great place to do trail running.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like a.
It's what
Aren't the
it's a-
trails
it's a
like
hot
known to be
spot, right?
It's
awful
like
though?
a mecca.
It's a hot spot.
Yeah. People come here.
But don't
for-
people like also like kind of hate the trails sometimes?
Oh, because they call it Rocksylvania
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. It's. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like good trails, but like tough terrain sort of thing.
Yeah, it is.
There's some challenging ones.
People
out there.
underestimate it, I would say, because it's not.
Yeah, people don't think like mountains in Pennsylvania.
Right. But it's slippery and it's very rocky and stuff like that. So you go up a lot of gorges and down a lot of gorges and yeah. So just the terrain. But yeah, it's people come like for Eastern States, people had come from Canada, from quite a few places. But yeah, that's the only race I'm officially signed up for next year.
Wow.
But
Yes, it's still early.
I have a couple tricks up my sleeve for next year.
I love when I'm sitting at my desk and Kara's like, "Tell me not to sign up for this race. I'm not supposed to sign up for another race."
She also hears
It's
all
like
my.
how you, isn't that how you say like you cured like the post race blues or
Yeah,
something? You
that
signed
was
up
that
for
was her
another one?
advice to me when I had my post count blues. She's like, "Quick, sign up for another one. It'll go away."
It's true. Yeah. You guys always hear my pre-race anxiety that I go through.
Yeah, can relate though.
The World's End one was the worst. Probably because I had such a bad time the year before. But yeah, Black Forest wasn't so bad. I had like one little.
Mild freak out.
I freaked out when I saw we had 2.5 hours to get to the first aid station. So,
Yeah.
and then I was
It's
fine.
like another layer of stress when you're trying to get through past those checkpoints and not get cut off.
Yeah, even though I had ran that
I was going to
trail,
say you had to know
I-
that you were going to get there.
Well, and it's part of the Hahn races that I've done, so I've ran it. I don't know. I think because I wasn't super anxious that I needed something to be anxious about.
Yeah. Sometimes people get anxious if they're not anxious.
Yep.
I know. Why am I not nervous? I'm not. I remember feeling like that before Tampa. I was like, why, I'm so excited. Why am I not nervous? I should be nervous right now. You're ready.
Awesome.
should-
Well,
You should put an ultra in the programming.
I think CrossFit triathlon's as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
That's
That's
pretty
long
ultra
enough.
for a CrossFitter.
That's long enough for a CrossFit.
If it's over an hour, that's a long time for a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
I mean, over 20 minutes is a long time for a CrossFitter.
Carrie, you would be the only one that would show up. I would be your
I don't
emotional
know.
support crew.
Yeah. Feed me gels.
Yeah.
I'll do the air bike leg with you. Stacey can do the row leg with you, and Eric can do the run leg with you.
Yeah.
I should challenge Eric to a 5K.
That'd be a good race.
What time? I wonder what time he has. What's his time? I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
I have
message
no
him.
idea.
He could probably run it like 6 minutes a mile.
6 flat.
I don't know about 6 flat, but pretty close.
What do you got?
I did do a 5K this year. What are you looking at?
You got so excited.
My 5K was, I don't remember. It was like 6:41 average mile.
I'm so fast.
Well, thank you, Kara.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kara. I'm sorry I didn't wash my hair for you.
I didn't wash my hair for myself.
I haven't showered since.
I should have made notes.
The airport.
Sunday?
Technically, it was Monday because we got back
Monday,
to
Sunday
the airport or got into our hotel at 2 a.m. So it was technically Monday because I took a shower before I went to bed.
I hope
Because
so.
I had literally sprinted through the airport in Charlotte to make our next flight.
Can we get a pill, one of the pill things like you use? Because that,
They're expensive. They're like hundreds of dollars. They're like a D-ball. Sandbags are way cheaper. You just because they don't need to ship with stuff in them.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
They have to ship it with full.
We're good. With
I don't need to touch up another pill for a while,
after
except ibuprofen.
that workout,
Advil.
I read that and I was just like, that's such an exciting workout. And then I watched it and I was like, is he going to knock himself out?
I got a lot closer in practice with the circular sandbag.
Oh my goodness. They're really hammering the stand.
I think that's why my shoulder, like I had like nerve stuff with my shoulder because.
They tried to call you out on the standard on that.
They
Oh yeah, I mean that was fair.
The guys, the commentators.
Yeah,
But a
That's
lot
a hard.
that.
That's a hard. I mean,
It's a hard
the judge had to
standard.
be like,
Yeah, the judge was literally looking at me and I was like, "This is the only way I can do it," and he was giving me the reps, so I just kept going.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, like if you're getting good reps on the floor, you just keep going.
Yeah.
"You're right."
Thanks for listening today. If you're someone who just started listening to the show, I would encourage you to subscribe so you can stay up to date. If you're someone who's been listening for a while, I would encourage you to rate and review the show. And lastly, the best thing that you can do to support our work is also the best thing that you can do for your performance. And that is by hiring one of our coaches. Until next time, stay the course.